Homeowners in the capital wanting to make changes to their properties are more likely to see their plans rejected than others across the UK. 7 out of the top 10 local authorities with the lowest approval rates were in the capital, with Newham planners coming out worst, giving the green light to just over half of all proposals. All of this is according to the appeals specialist, Just Planning. Martin Gain is their chief executive. I imagine a lot of this really depends on the source of application you're seeing, because obviously we see lots of reports about mega basements and those being rejected. Is this on that level, or is it small scale stuff being rejected?
It is largely the smaller scale application. The very large applications London has a very reasonably good record on. Smaller scale householder applications where the householder maybe doesn't have access to expensive advice, doesn't have direct access to counsellors and so on. It is really with those type of applications that we're seeing problems.
So you're talking about things like, an extension to a kitchen, or perhaps a conversion on the back, things like that?
That's it. I mean, the classic developments are single-storey rear extensions, lofts, that kind of thing.
In London, is it that we're bad at this because we get so many of these applications, because 7 out of the 10 worst councils in your survey are here? Is that the reason?
I mean, it's a mix of factors, really. I mean, I think London is really suffering at the moment from a shortage of resources, a very large increase in the number of applications coming through. There are a shortage of planners, and case officers tell me that really they cannot manage their workloads at the moment.
So it's the councils and cuts, essentially, that's leading to this.
It's an element of council cuts and just a very high workload volume.
Right, that doesn't seem like there's a potential solution then. What else can be done if somebody wants to, say, have a one-storey conversion to extend their property and they fear they're going to have it rejected? What can they do?
Well, they should always maintain communication with their planner as far as possible. Sadly, they need to recognise that they may get a refusal. Sometimes that's justified, but often it isn't. They should look carefully at the decision, talk again to the council, and then perhaps seek some professional advice.
Yeah, do you find that actually if you appeal an initial decision, quite often you might get a different decision second time round?
Absolutely. I mean, appeals aren't heard by the council. They go to a central government department, so it's entirely objective. There's some conflict between what councils want and what the government intends. They like to see as much development as possible happen. So a large proportion of decisions are overturned, and we win maybe 70%.
I mean, the argument that Newham does, I think, 53%, you could say, actually, they're doing a really good job at making sure we don't keep building where we shouldn't be building.
Yeah, well, it's quite correct that they refuse any application that is inappropriate. And we see all over London, huge, monstrous developments of various types. The difficulty here is that people are putting in applications for reasonable, well-designed extensions, and they're being unreasonably refused. And often they take it lying down, they assume the council is right, and they move on with their lives and forget about it and miss out on an extension that really they wanted and deserved.